Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of ATI. Dan with Brian and Matt. We are ready to talk a lot of football. Week 1 of the NFL season has happened, and there's a lot to get to. There's also, of course, all of the Antonio Brown drama. Seems like a year's worth or a decade's worth of drama happened since we recorded last week's episode. So we'll get to all of that. When we taped last week's episode, he was still a Raider.
Right.
Now he is a Patriot, and now he has a civil lawsuit against him.
Multiple civil.
There's a lot going on with Antonio Brown. We want to talk about football on the field, but I think we have to start with what's going on with Antonio Brown. Today, he did practice.
Number one.
He wore number 1. Apparently, he won't be able to when or if he plays, he won't be wearing 1. He'll be wearing a different number. I don't know if it's.
I don't think he can wear 84
because that's Ben Watson's number.
He can't wear 87 either.
That belongs to
because they're
Gronker.
holding on to it just in case.
Just in case.
Week 14.
Belichick met with media today. Brady met with the media today. Neither wanted to answer really any questions to do with the latest Antonio Brown drama, which is serious drama. Now, it's a civil suit. It's not criminal, so that does change things. And that seems to be the way it changes things is he could actually still play.
Yeah.
While this is happening. Do we think he will, though?
So I was talking with Matt before the show about this. A civil suit, you're saying, I don't care if you go to jail, I want to get paid.
Right.
The same thing happened to Derrick Rose. No charges were filed ever. The accuser, one of the accusers that I've seen, there's multiple ones, or the one I saw was she was a trainer of his or a masseuse or something.
Yep.
There was 2 instances where him and Louis C.K. probably should hang out sometime if that's if the allegations are true.
Yeah, there's some very graphic, and there's some graphic emails or text messages.
There's 2 emails
also.
that, I don't know, either a 3rd grader that lives in the projects wrote or something. It's so gibberish.
Yeah.
But then the thing that I thought was interesting is then she claims that he sweet talked her, and then she decided to go work with him again because he was so charismatic. And Matt and I think it's just more of a money grab.
That's obviously what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. And then if you talk to any Steelers friend or any other fans across, of course he's guilty, blah, blah, blah. The Patriots always have this moral high ground, and especially when Myra Kraft was alive. They had one player, I want to say it was Peters or somebody.
Someone in the early
Somebody
90s.
in Ohio or whatever got accused of raping college, and they released him the next day just because of the allegation. I want to say Christian Peters, but I can't remember the guy's name.
Sounds about right.
But now, now that Kraft has done some questionable things. Allegedly.
I don't think that.
Well, no, what I mean is credibility-wise. Up until that point, they were like the
that will affect how they handle it, whether there's a release or
No. I don't think they will at all.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is I think that the Patriots.
But from an optics standpoint.
Yeah, the Patriots. Everybody thinks the Patriots are a bunch of cheaters. The season tickets I have, the guy is a Dodgers fan. Oh, I can't. How do you root for the team like that? Whatever. But so what's going to happen is that's going to play out. Now, he'll get suspended without pay probably. Matt and I think it might be 4 weeks, and then they'll just kind of hand this woman $100,000 and she disappears.
He could end up being put on
the exempt list.
like the exempt commissioner's list or whatever. That could end up being a road we go down.
Yeah.
It's stereotypical NFL BS where I guarantee you he'll get suspended 4 or 5 weeks, something stupid. Right. Everyone will forget about it. He'll go on and have a great rest of the season because he's a talented player. If this was like Gunnar Olszewski, the 53rd man on the Patriots roster, he would have been cut, probably sentenced to prison, and he'd be off in Guantanamo.
Well, he's not sentenced to prison. There's no criminal charge.
No, but I'm saying if it was someone of that caliber.
Just like OJ with the civil trial, right?
So
well, that happened after the criminal.
You know what I mean, because Antonio.
But actually, I did see a tweet that
OJ was commenting about Antonio Brown on Twitter.
Yeah, OJ's had a lot to say since he opened his Twitter account. But I did see, I believe on Twitter, that the DA in Florida, where this all allegedly occurred, said that they will look into it.
It's the same thing with everything. Same thing with Ezekiel Elliott. There was supposed alleged pictures and video of it happening. He denied it. He played for 3 weeks. Then they suspended him for 6 weeks. Then he came back. If you're a talented player, you play. The thing that confuses me is the woman alleging it supposedly has all these emails. But then there's another woman that supposedly has all these other messages from the original woman saying that I'm going to set him up and like plotting the whole thing. Why is there always one person out there with a list of emails that says like, "Oh, I'm going to set this person up"?
Someone's
How
always got
stupid are people?
receipts.
Fall Guys.
But what's going to be interesting is, was this really out of the blue, or did he know that this was going to be coming?
I wanna know-
because then he wasn't being truthful with the
Did
Patriots.
the Steelers know? Did the Raiders know?
Right.
And then did Belichick and Kraft know?
Right.
And then what did you say about the statement
So
earlier?
my guess, and when I was listening,
The timing
to
is very
Felger and-
suspicious.
Yes.
Let's face
A
it.
little bit.
What I think happened is I think that somehow Belichick found out whether Rosenhaus, Brown, some other person told him. I think before they signed him, I think he knew that this was a possibility. Then the information gets released. He has his press conference today and does nothing but relate to the statement the Patriots released. I think he was so adamant about the statement because he knows if he said no, we didn't know, and it comes out he did, he's screwed. If he says yes, we knew, he's screwed because they signed him.
Right.
So he's stuck to the
Be as
statement.
vague as possible.
Exactly. Now, does that mean he knew? No, because it's just the Patriot way. We expect this at all our press conferences. But
And he can say, I don't recall or I don't remember. And then if he goes to court.
he did not inhale.
Yeah. I don't recall
I
that.
inhaled.
So that's just, I think Belichick knew because Belichick, he knows 95% of everything.
Yeah, I don't. As Belichick is the de facto GM of that team, I don't think there's anything that happens that he doesn't know about. You know.
Especially when it happened 2 years ago,
Yeah.
allegedly.
So we'll see what happens with the Antonio Brown saga. Again, he practiced today. There was no word yet on whether he's actually going to play on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's
When
going to
does
be
that come out? Isn't there? Don't they publish that list?
at the end of the week, I guess.
I think it's Friday. I think he has to be suspended by Friday at like whatever, 5 o'clock, 4
So we'll
o'clock.
know
So stay
pretty
tuned.
soon.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be a few more twists and turns, I'm sure.
Yeah.
My guess
Patriots,
is
go
he
ahead.
plays till week 4 and then is suspended. That's my guess.
I'm sure there's going to be more twists and turns.
Now, what about the guy they cut?
Well, they traded Demarius.
Demarius,
They can't get him back.
Yeah, and Brown is he's on the roster right now.
Now they did that move with the knowledge of Brown, or with
That was 3 hours before this all came out.
yeah. So it was like that timing is really kind of. Now you wouldn't make a move like that if you knew, right?
Could you, if you were writing a movie about Antonio Brown, you couldn't even come up with this. Like,
Well,
come up with the craziest stuff in the world.
It's almost as ridiculous as South Park when they were trying to parody Trump. They gave up.
Well, you can't parody him.
Well, they were
is
trying to be ridiculous, and they just stopped.
Right.
Because they go, he's outdoing what we can come up
Right.
with.
There's no
They just
parody
stopped.
for the clown.
It's the same thing with Brown.
Yes.
I think we sat here a week ago making fun of you for him being on the Raiders, and now we have to eat our shit.
Well, I mean, anybody watch the Denver game? I mean, that was a nice game by the Raiders there.
Sure, we'll
You
get
know,
to it.
Derek Carr looked decent. They had a running back who did pretty good. Matt and I talked
Jacobs was
about
pretty
that.
good.
Gruden reacted like they won the Super Bowl.
For them, they did.
They lost the kid, their draft pick. He's out for the season.
Which one?
No, their draft pick knocked out their other safety. Garyon Conley
I
got hit
thought
in the head
Abrams
by-
got hurt too.
Abrams knocked out Garyon Conley as well.
Yeah, but they, now I think everybody in Raider Nation, they're going, all right, maybe they can be 500. They're over with 6 wins. If you can beat the Denvers,
Yep.
Kansas City and the Chargers are going to fight to win that division.
And Chargers dropping like flies.
And the Chargers are getting hurt. And Kansas City, they just lost, what's his name there, the wife beater, right?
Tyreek Hill.
I know that really narrows
Son,
down the
not
NFL.
wife, son.
Yeah,
He's out for a little bit.
But he's out for a while. I'm wondering if I'm a Raiders fan, but obviously I want the Patriots to do well as well. Does that help the Patriots out? We were talking about this yesterday during the volleyball game. Can they get that cushion early and get those wins in the bank now?
Yep.
So that if they lose a game later in the season, it's not the end of the world. Because he's out for what, 4 weeks?
Who? Tyreek?
Yeah.
Tyreek right now is out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And they'll reevaluate. But he does need surgery, so that's.
All right. But you want to get those wins now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead. No. I was going to say let's turn to what happened on the field with the Patriots on Sunday. A dominant win against
Awesome.
the Steelers.
Awesome
They
game.
looked by far like the best team in the NFL. And then before all this latest round with Antonio Brown happened, people were saying, "Oh wow, now you're going to add Antonio Brown to that."
6
They're
to 1.
clearly going to be the best team.
6-1 odds to 3-1 for
Right.
Super Bowl right after that. Win.
I think even if Antonio Brown never plays it down with the Patriots are still the best team in football, and they proved it on. It's one game, but they were dominant on both sides of the ball.
That was supposed to be their toughest game of the first 8, and it was a scrimmage.
Yeah.
They came out, put a whooping on. Josh Gordon looks partially like Josh Gordon of old until he got rocked in the third quarter. But then you look at the teams they're playing. Miami, in Miami early. That's an unusual one. New York, Buffalo, Washington, New York. This team.
They should go 8-0, right? When you
If
look at the
not,
schedule.
yeah.
If not, I don't forget who the 9th game is, but
I know, whenever Philly and Kansas City. I
Is
was
it a
talking
bye
to
or
Brian.
something? Or?
Somewhere in there. But Philly and Kansas City,
Yeah.
the only 2 games right now I can say they might lose.
The offensive line of that game played amazing too.
And the secondary is, I can't believe I'm going to say this, kind of a strength. I've never in my 26 years of living seen a secondary outside of that Laura Malloy Ty Law one in, what was it, 01, I think? That was probably the only
he's a
secondary
youngin'.
better.
you're a little baby.
He goes, yeah. I go, you remember when they had Moss? We were talking about dominant players Patriots had, and he goes, yeah, that was the first year I really started seriously watching football. And I'm like,
Oh, God.
wow,
Yeah.
It
wow.
was 8th grade. What do you want?
Eighth grade, I'm like, wow, man, that's crazy. You remember what that was like? Remember when they
course,
got
yeah, I was in
Moss,
college.
and it was like, so you're watching the game, and you get a beer, and you're in your couch, you're like, he's gonna throw the ball 50 yards, just like,
Yeah, he's just gonna chuck it up into the air, and then Moss is
and
gonna
someone's gonna
catch
catch it, and then it happened,
Because like you,
and then it happened again.
like you remember his first touchdown catch as a Patriot was the
Against
the
the
Jets
Jets
game,
in
and he
the-
just throws it into double coverage. And Moss
in
like,
the spy
nah,
game.
I got
Moss went
this.
like this, off the guy's shoulder, grabbed the ball, picked it up, signed the ball, gave it to him. He's like, all right, see you later.
Yeah. And now the Patriots, like you said, they're playing at Miami this Sunday,
Yes.
and the spread in that game, they are favored by 19 points right
Which
now,
is a
which
big
is one
deal.
of the bigger regular season spreads, probably, regular season playoffs, anything in the NFL, one of the bigger spreads you've ever seen in NFL history.
They're definitely gonna win, but question B, do they cover?
I'm taking the points because it's in Miami, and somehow the in Miami game is always
Right.
tough. They'll
I
win.
mean, Miami's
but
coming off a 49-point loss, something like that. They gave up 59 points to the Ravens.
Lamar.
To Lamar Jackson.
Who can actually throw the ball?
No.
Yeah.
If you look at those, you look at those touchdowns. The 2 Holly. Could you mind if we transition to that Ravens game?
He played
Dan?
well though.
The 2 touchdowns to Hollywood Brown, they were 10-yard completions that he ran 70 yards after. The Mark Andrews one, he was wide open, and the 2 other ones were, okay, I'll give you, he actually had to throw the football, but they weren't like Tom Brady to Josh Gordon into triple coverage throws. Oh.
I just remember how awful he was in the playoffs. Like every pass was like at somebody's ankles.
Yeah.
And at the same
I'm like,
time,
how is he an NFL quarterback?
and at the same time, it was against Miami. The Dolphins are awful.
So they cover. But you're taking the points.
Take the points because it's something stupid that the Patriots will do. We all have watched this team long enough. This is the type of game where they'll try something
maybe the
new.
Patriots are going to be,
With Brown.
if Brown's playing, even if Brown's not playing,
Okay, if Antonio Brown's playing, like that game might be. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
and the Patriots are remembering what happened last year in Miami,
Yeah.
the Miami Miracle, where they lost on the
What a mess that
laterals
was,
and
huh?
all that BS that happened.
How many people threw their
So-
drinks at that when that happened, huh?
That was bad.
Yeah.
So will they cover 19 points? I mean, that's tough in an NFL game for that kind of a spread, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 30.
Yeah, and I think they'll cover. I think they'll be fine, but who knows? I mean, it's the kind of thing where I don't think Patriots fans have been this excited about their team in a while. I mean, they're always like, yeah, this is great, we're gonna win. There's nobody out there, Dan. There's nobody.
Yeah, I after watching, I watched a lot of football on Sunday. The Patriots, to me, seem like by far the best team.
Yeah, I mean,
that
maybe they're
saw.
just the best prepared team.
Oh, they're definitely the best prepared team.
You know,
There's no question their coaching staff
they-
is head and shoulders above any other
They
staff.
had a backup
Just because
center,
of Bill.
right? Because their center was hurt.
He's out for the year.
He's out for the year, and did you notice?
No.
Outside
And then
of-
on defense, Van Noy, who's one of their best defenders, didn't
Who got
even play.
FaceTimed
'Cause
by the
did
locker
you see
room?
him in MGH over there? No.
No.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. But so the team FaceTimed him while he was at the hospital.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of their best defensive players, would you say?
Now, see, I have a qualm with that statement because Kyle Van Noy on the Lions, you could have put a giant boulder out there, middle linebacker, and it would have been better than Kyle Van Noy. Comes to the Patriots, he plays well in the system, but then you go and get one of your best athletic linebackers in team history for a second time in Jamie Collins. I think it was probably better that he wasn't available because you let Collins come in there and be better. I mean, yeah, sure, Van Noy's good, but I think that defense middle linebacker got better, and you move Dante back to his outside and let him rush a little bit. Yeah.
Good problem to have.
Great problem to have. Looking around at the rest of the league, what else jumped out to us? The Cowboys looked pretty good in the NFC, but the Giants are horrible. Your boy is the only thing they have.
I don't know what was stupider.
Him crying on that picture that I sent you where he's crying. He's like, I got 100 yards when I'm on the Giants.
He averaged over 11 yards a carry, and they only gave him the ball 11 times. I don't know what's
Who's
that.
the coach?
Pat Shermer.
When they started to
Mr.
fall
McGough.
behind so much, they had to start throwing the ball around, right?
Well, or the biggest play of the game, which was a 4th and 1 from the Dallas 5. Eli naked bootleg outside, no one in front of him. All of a sudden, a white flat, like someone just ran across him in the back of the end zone, and he stutters and falls down. Like, I don't know. The Cowboys are probably the second best team in football right now, but
That's my Super Bowl pick. Patriots.
even I, yeah.
How did you guys like the Chiefs game? Did you guys watch that one?
That
I don't
was
remember who they played. Who'd they play?
Jaguars.
Oh, that's right.
So
And Foles went down.
They scored 45 points. Their receiver got hurt. Foles got hurt for the other guys.
I have to bring
there.
up the.
But the thing is, it's like, okay, so
The
how
whole
many
game
points did
story.
they score after Hill got hurt?
they almost all of them. I think it was like the first drive of the
Okay,
game.
so it wasn't like he got hurt and then they
No,
couldn't score.
Sammy Watkins had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Now, what was more impressive, what the Patriots did or what Kansas City did?
Patriots.
Patriots.
Because the Jaguars are good,
They are.
but they have individual pieces that the Chiefs could dissect. And it's like, all right, well, if Jalen Ramsey prepared all week to shadow Tyreek Hill, and now all of a sudden he's not shadowing
Was that game
Tyreek
in
Hill.
KC or in Jacksonville?
In Jacksonville.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he's not covering Tyreek Hill. All of a sudden their game plan went away, and they had to readjust. I think Jacksonville I was going to buy in on, but then when Minshew came in,
That
the stash-
kid played good.
Gardner
right?
played well, but I'm not buying into Jacksonville that much as I was before the game started.
Please don't, because it's a dump. They've had Super Bowls there, and it's like being in Alabama.
Jacksonville.
It's like being in Alabama.
Patriots won a Super Bowl in
Well,
Jacksonville.
because
It's
Super Bowl
awful.
38.
It's awful.
Because I said before, or on the show last week, I wanted to see how that game went before I bought into Kansas City.
Yeah.
And if you're letting Sammy Watkins get 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, I'm not buying in at all.
Yeah.
What-
What else happened around the league? The Eagles looked pretty decent in a comeback win.
That was sketchy.
Yeah.
I don't know how you spot Washington, 20 points or whatever.
Right.
Case Keenum's good. He's not that good. I think
But Wentz looked solid.
Wentz looked good.
Yeah.
I think if he can stay healthy, which is the big thing, which I don't think
How
he will.
about Saints Texans?
That was a great game. Didn't get to see any because I was at Fenway.
Yeah, but a 2-point game.
That was probably the
Where-
best last minute of football I've seen in some time.
Yeah, and that was an exciting game.
Yeah.
And again, as I said in the show last week, Bill O'Brien, great offensive coach, doesn't know what defense is.
And
then
I think that the way that the Texans played in that game and almost beat the Saints, who are considered an NFC contender, shows the Texans are going to be a factor again this year.
Yeah, and Deshaun just needs to stand 2 feet. He got hit a bunch and got hit hard. I'm interested to see because they rely so much on him running the football himself, and he got lit up on his touchdown run. So if you can keep him healthy, which means he doesn't run the football as much, I'm interested to see how that works because he's such a big part of their offense. But if he can't run the football, it's like Cam Newton not running the football in Carolina. It changes everything.
And he got that stupid outfit at post game.
Oh,
Didn't he? He
Who's
was
that?
Cam.
Cam had like
Oh,
this
I didn't see that.
weird,
I
like,
did see that. Yeah.
You just
scarecrow
Yeah.
black hat thing going on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
It's
that.
like if you play like shit, you shouldn't be able to dress that well. Most boring game. Packers.
It might have. It was
Bears?
probably the
Yeah.
first that Thursday night game, and I think the most interesting thing from that game to talk about is
It was football. Give me football.
It's
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky and how bad he was, and how the Bears
We said this
need to
last
get a
week.
quarterback because that defense, you're wasting that defense if this kid's going to play that poorly.
We said it last week.
Yeah.
Trubisky's just like Jared Goff. They're
Khalil
little
Mack
tiny
can't throw the
puppets.
ball to people.
He's much worse than Goff, and maybe it's because he's got a lesser coach in his ear. But
Probably.
Yeah.
Because as I say all the time, McVay's top 3 coach in my mind. Yeah, Nagy's good, but when your best running back, Tariq Cohen, played every single snap out of the slot and none at his actual running back position, come on. Trubisky didn't know I don't know. That defense at Green Bay, though, the secondary is really good.
yeah,
And then what about the Jets, Bills? Bills Mafia
I
has a
watched
plus
the
one.
end of that game,
So
and
there's
I
still
thought it was
tickets-
hilarious
Yeah,
because, well, first of all, when those two teams play, it's like the little brothers that you always get to beat up on.
yeah.
So
Oh,
they're
yeah.
beating up on each other.
Oh yeah, it's a Pop Warner game.
And as a Patriots fan, when it's Bills Jets, you kind of root for the Bills
Do
over the
you?
Jets. Yeah, I mean, at least I do.
I hate Josh Allen.
But the Jets
I
are the
hate
Jets.
Josh Allen.
The Jets are the
But
Jets.
what about all those people?
Doesn't mean I want the Jets
And
to
you
win.
know who you are, you Natick people who still are Bills fans because of Doug Flutie.
No?
When I was in college, this kid John Verda, I know him. Okay.
Why are we
He's-
calling on
But then you should stop. They should
Right, you
have
should have
stopped
stopped.
being a
Yeah,
Bills
yeah.
fan once the Bills made the idiotic decision not to play Doug in the playoff game.
He talked about all the the times the Giants, you know how they lost the 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I like the Bills because I like Doug Flutie and all his BS and whatever. And he's still a Bills fan to this day, and which is hilarious because they've been awful. I mean, the Raiders have
for
been
20
bad.
years. They finally made the
Bills have
playoffs a
been
couple of
bad.
years ago.
And on the luckiest of occasions, barely, and then blew it.
Yeah. But so yeah, they won by a point.
Yep.
My favorite part of the post game of that game, I forget exactly who said it, but someone was like, "Yeah, I'm really excited for the Bills. I think Josh Allen can develop into a starting quarterback one day in the league." And he was like, "You know, I've been a starting quarterback for like all last year, right?" And he's like, "No, you're not."
Wait,
yet."
he said that to him at the press
Like,
conference?
well, someone in one press conference, the guy said
Oh.
Josh Allen can develop into a starter one day, and Josh was like, "You realize I've been a starter like all last year."
I think basically the bottom line is the AFC East is as bad as we thought it was because the Dolphins got throttled, and then the Bills and the Jets, that they did not look like good football teams.
The Rams won by a field goal.
And I think they were both defensive touchdowns, or 2 of them.
in
that
the
game.
Bills Jets.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got undefeated team. AFC East standings look like Buffalo, New York, New England. And then you got 2 losses. Baltimore is the only team in the AFC North that won. It's the same thing in the AFC South. Every single team lost, except for Tennessee.
Which
That's what we should get to. We should get to that before we get to extra. We'll spend the last few minutes before extra on the Browns because that was the team that everyone was talking about in the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
This is the hot young team.
They were in the top 10 as far as Super Bowl contenders. They were
Yeah.
as far as the odds.
The Browns are finally going to make the playoffs. Maybe they're even going to make a run at the Super Bowl. Everyone's excited
Doesn't
about
everybody get a
Baker.
free beer or something if they win a game?
I think that was just one game. That was,
Was that a thing last year? It's like open all the beer. All,
That was when they got
all
their
the
first
they all
win
had
in
coolers,
20
and they're like,
games,
you get a free beer if they win a game.
But they got embarrassed at home
that
against Tennessee. What happened?
that says more about about Cleveland buying into their own hype and not being
He was
prepared.
going to say Oakland, but he
I almost did, yeah. Because Tennessee's not that good. Marcus Mariota is a serviceable NFL quarterback, but we all know Mike Vrabel. He's okay. He's not great. We saw the Patriots
Probably has CTE.
destroyed him. Maybe.
definitely a CD.
Vrabel?
But I think Cleveland, they're playing the Jets this week. If they get throttled by the Jets again, Odell's gone. Like, he's taking his watch and running out the door. Jarvis is gone. Kareem Hunt's like, I don't even want to play the league. Baker's going to lose everything if they lose
Is that
to
game
the
in New
Jets.
York or is that game in Cleveland?
I think it's in New York on Monday night.
Ooh,
Oh, it's a Monday night game.
Tough game.
A
lot of people
There's
watching
going to be
it.
2 desperate teams because the Jets coming off a loss as well.
As we said, the Jets are always desperate.
Yeah, true.
Like Matt in college, desperate.
So it was kind of funny to see the Browns just completely crap the bed.
Well, I was down here at Natick Days, and all of a sudden, someone was like, "Yeah, Mariota's got 3 touchdowns." I'm like, "Oh, what is it like garbage time or something?" I'm like, "Okay, this is not the score I was expecting."
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of disappointed bandwagon jumpers. They probably jumped off the bandwagon. Of that Cleveland
My
game.
mother's full on the bandwagon still, even though she's kind of driving it along. But yeah,
Is she from Cleveland?
no, she just for some reason, like 2 years ago when they were in the midst of the Hugh Jackson 0-16, she was like, "I like that team," and she even when they were 0-16, she kept with them. So.
But she hates the Ravens. Go figure.
So week 1 in the NFL, Patriots look like the best team in the league.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in week 2. The drama will continue, I'm sure, with Antonio Brown. We'll see what the latest is. There. Anything else football-wise to get to? Anything in college? You're our college guy.
So LSU is really good.
Yes.
Their quarterback is definitely improving. LSU is probably a contender. Oklahoma's doing it again, 3rd year in a row with a different quarterback transfer.
From
Jalen Hurts from Alabama.
Yep.
He's looking real good. Can finally throw the football.
It's not Alabama or bust this year.
No, Alabama's probably the 3rd best team right now behind LSU and Oklahoma.
Strictly for
Clemson-
entertainment purposes, not for betting purposes. Strictly for entertainment.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
And Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, the greatest quarterback in the history of the world, he's struggling right now. He threw only 2 interceptions all last year. He's already got 3 this year.
Wow.
And they had that was a pretty tough game against Texas A&M.
Texas
They
A&M,
ended up
yeah.
winning by 2 touchdowns?
They
but-
only won by 14, but that was
Yeah.
because there was a touchdown with 2 seconds left.
Who did Notre Dame beat?
Notre Dame didn't beat anyone this week. They beat Louisville week 1.
Oh, here's a
Because
notable.
they're 7-0. They're ranked
Number 7.
7th.
The notable game that I just thought of is the Michigan Army having to go to
Yeah, what
overtime.
happened there?
So upset.
What is going on
Yeah.
with Jim
Michigan
Harbaugh?
couldn't hold on to the football to save his life. Shea Patterson's not as good as people say he is.
Did Michigan end up winning?
Yeah, they
in
won by
overtime, or
3.
double overtime.
But
whatever
that
it
was
is.
huge, right?
Yeah.
This is the second year in a row. Army took Kyler Murray in Oklahoma to overtime
Right.
last year
Really?
in Norman.
Yeah.
So Army early in the season, they will beat you to
Who
the
do
ground.
they have that's they're just a good
Their
team?
quarterback's really good. He can't throw the football, but he's really good.
They,
on the
like a
triple
Navy
option.
thing where it's option.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who was the guy who got the deferment for Navy? He was a quarterback or something.
Keelan Reynolds.
What did he ever do anything?
No, who's that? Philly. There you go. Philly
Okay.
cut him, and then
But I remember like he was like a big deal in college
well, he set the record for most rushing touchdowns in college history.
as a quarterback, though, right? Isn't that crazy?
79.
Yeah.
And then President Trump is going to do the whole thing with the schools come November, I think it is.
What's that?
Which is
It's all college athletes that go to service academies like that. You have your 4 years that you have to do, and they're trying to come up with a system, a waiver system
Oh, like
that
if
you
you're
get to
good enough to go to the
defer.
pros.
so
you
the
can
Red
go.
Sox drafted a guy Noah Song. Same throws 100 miles an hour, pitches for Lowell.
Yeah.
He has basic training in November.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've been writing letters.
You know who could have used that rule is David Robinson back in the day because he had to.
No, because he was 6 feet tall, and then he grew a foot in a submarine that was nuclear powered.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, he wouldn't have grown
He
if
wouldn't
it
have
wasn't for the whole
grown if it
Navy
wasn't
thing.
for the contamination.
Yeah.
He
But,
got
did,
Homer
but
Simpson.
did he have to sit out?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
But
I
they
think-
put a 7 foot tall in a submarine. No. He was 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
When he was on the sub, he grew a foot.
Yeah.
When he was 20.
I think they said he couldn't go back on the sub. So
He wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
They got rid of him because
good.
he was too tall.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if that rule is in place, he would have been able to just go
Correct.
right.
Yeah.
It's up to the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
The last one they had was Mattis.
Yeah.
And he said, nope, you got to do it. You know, the guy before Mattis was the one who gave the waiver to the guy in Navy. And now they don't have one. And unfortunately, I love the fact that Trump has a huge ego and you can stroke him. And if you say, hey, you can help me out. And all Kraft has to do is write this guy a letter. And that guy's pitching for the Red Sox in a week. And I have no problem with that.
Let's spin the music and go to extra. All right, welcome to Podcast Extra. Tons of football to discuss. We just did it. Let's get to some other stories in sports, and we'll start with the Red Sox,
Yes.
who made some news late on Sunday.
Yeah.
They announced that they were not going to bring Dave Dombrowski back.
Such a cop out, huh?
It's not really technically a firing because he didn't have a
Contract.
next season, but it is pretty much a firing because it's before the season's over.
Yeah, it was 100% a firing. It was 100%
But yeah, the fact
cop-out.
that they did it after the Patriots just had a big game, they buried it.
And then the game that Dan and I were at the next night was
Ortiz
the
throws
biggest,
out the first pick.
bait and switch where David
Yeah.
Ortiz was there.
No, I was joking with my
What do
dad.
you make of Dombrowski?
I was joking with my dad. So before I get into that, because I have some opinions on it, I was joking. I guarantee you, Kraft was like, "All right, look, guys, owner Jacobs, owner of the Sox, Celtics, whatever. I got something coming out tomorrow. It's gonna trump everything that you guys have going on. Release any news you want. We'll cover it. It'll be gone and dusted by 7 p.m. Monday night." I guarantee you that was what he said, before everything broke.
At least that's what it sounded like he said. It wasn't really sure. He was like, rah, 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 Patriots.
So this releasing of Dombrowski after the game ended at what, 12:30, 1
Well,
o'clock, whatever?
and during the third inning, my phone was blowing up on Twitter. Everybody's like, something big is going to happen, but we can't say it.
Because
Something big-
Carabas was all over
Yeah,
it.
so him, there's another girl I follow, Gabrielle, whatever her name is, she's on Twitter, a couple other people. They all knew about it. And I guess everybody knew a pregame, except for him. And then, if you ever see the Sox games, he has like a separate box.
Yeah.
He got up, he looked at his phone in the third inning, got up and walked away. He didn't find out till during the game. Now the players are embarrassed because they're like, he didn't do his job. I think, and this is how I feel, Henry said, all right, I don't want to spend this much money, do the best you can. Because if you tell Dombrowski, go buy me a team, he has no problem spending money.
And-
that's not an issue for him at all.
And that's the thing is,
Well, that's what he did with the 2018 team.
when
Right.
you look at
Broke
Dombrowski,
all kinds of records. Now
Yeah.
a year later, he's fired.
Dombrowski is a guy, he's a mercenary that comes in, he says, you have a top 5 farm system. I'm going to use those guys to get current
Right.
star players on whatever deals, and we're going to win with that.
Which is what you should do, because most prospects don't pan out.
And then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, you won, now go spend money because we depleted the whole farm system. And that's not what Dombrowski does. You look at what he did in Detroit beforehand. bad contract after bad contract, and Justin Upton, Cameron Maybin.
So it's not that he's not spending money; it's that he's not spending the money wisely.
Well, because you can't in baseball. Baseball free agency is the most flawed system in the world, unless you get a guy like Bryce Harper at 28, and even then they still find a way to screw it up by giving him a 15-year deal.
Right.
So in baseball, Dombrowski is great, and I honestly thought they should have fired him as soon as they won, because he doesn't know how to take it to the next level with money.
But I don't think that's his. I think it was Henry basically said, "You spend enough, your payroll's high enough, make it work." That's why Brazier was in the bullpen, come the start of the season. If he said, "Listen, go spend an extra couple $1 million," they wouldn't have got a closer, and they probably wouldn't have got another pitcher. But he basically said the payroll is already the highest in Major League Baseball. We don't want there to be an issue. And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll do the best I can." So he was more of a scapegoat more than anything.
Yeah.
Because if their justification for not spending money this year is goes, well, how are we going to afford Mookie Betts? And I'm not a big soccer fan like Matt is, but I know they came off where they won their World Series.
They won the Champions League.
They gave him a teacup or something.
Liverpool?
They won something in Europe.
They
won some kind of cup.
Which is something happened. Something big happened. Supposedly.
Drink some champagne out of it.
But here's the thing.
and the
They
wife.
also own a NASCAR team, Roush Racing. They used to own part of Beats, and that got bought by Apple. Henry has money. He owns the Globe.
I was going to say he owns the
Okay,
Boston
He
Globe.
owns enough
so
stuff.
give me a break about this $10 million or $15 million. And we saw this before where they didn't sign Lester, and what do? They unload the truck for all the, like when they got like Crawford. That was a totally, we screwed up. Here's a ton of money. When they got Sandoval, was he like the best player? No, but they're like, well, we're going to throw money at him.
We need a third baseman.
They're going to overreact again, but in a good way this year. They're going to spend money that, oh my God. What they should do next year? All right, who's the best pitcher? Garrett Cole, boom, here's $30 million a year. Who's the best closer? Will Smith, if he's available from the Giants, here's $15 million. If you put both of those guys on the current team they have with Devers, with Bogarts, with all those other guys, they're going to be in the mix with Yankees and Houston. They will.
I mean, they weren't that far away from being in the mix this
And
year.
they're not that bad this year.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to almost 30 games this year, okay? I've seen fans from every single fan base, and they go, wow, we wish we had a third baseman like you guys, a guy who's 22 who could do that. The Bogarts contract, he's a Boris client who Boris never, ever, ever signs a guy to an extension. Bogarts is like, I want to play here forever, make it happen. That looks like a great deal now. He's an amazing player,
I mean, it sets a tough precedent too, where your president, your GM president, whatever his exact title was, he builds the team that wins a World Series, sets the team record for wins, et cetera. And literally the next year, you fire him. And
It's
the
like
team
coach of the year in the NBA.
The team was, the team, like right now the Red Sox, they're an above 500 team. They were still at least in the race.
And at the same
into
time,
September.
it's not Dombrowski's fault as much as if I was really, I want to blame the players in all situations, but you can't do that. They get paid. So if anything, blame Cora. Like in the baseball today, they're so stubborn with the analytics. And don't get me wrong, analytics are good, but okay, you got a pitcher out there, and yeah, he usually struggles third time through, but tonight he's only given up 2 hits through 7 innings. Give him a shot, and if he gives up a hit, then take a situation. Don't be like, well, I have to bring in Matt Barnes here in the 6th inning.
But that wasn't their issue. Their issue was that they couldn't get out of the first inning. They couldn't get out of the second inning. I mean,
Which is why I want to blame the players, but you can't do that.
Sale, Price, Evaldi missed some time, and then they gave Steve Pearce that contract. That's like when remember when Mike Lowe won the MVP of the World Series? And then they gave him a contract, and the guy couldn't even walk. And the guy's trying to field ground balls. He couldn't even bend over. That dumb contract. But Boston has a history of notoriously paying guys who have done great, and you reward them. You can't do that. You have to take the emotions out of it. You got to be. What's the computer they always make fun of that they say used to run the Red Sox? What was his name? They had, oh God, it was
like an actual computer? Or are you
no.
talking Bill James?
Basically, what they had it wasn't Bill James, but basically
I was going to say Bill James.
The Red Sox had this computer that would basically do analytical models.
Watson?
It was something like that, but basically it was like no emotion. It was like it was basically said like Kevin Youkilis should be your leadoff hitter because he has the highest on base percentage, or in these lineups would be kind of like your power hitters should be the leadoff hitters, which in 2019-20 we're finding out. Number 2 hitter is usually your best hitter now. It's not the number 3-4 anymore. Like a Trout or a Devers or whoever, which kind of makes sense. But you got to, analytics are a big part of it. But I think that the bigger thing is it's performance, and you don't know what a guy's going to do from year to year. Like the Yankees overspent for their bullpen this year. Betances hasn't pitched all year. They didn't really spend money for him because he's been on the team. Chapman's okay, but he doesn't scare anybody. He throws 100, but he can't get it over. You sit on a slide, you hit out of the park. Onevito's okay. Britton used to be great. They're all kind of good, but they're all like in their mid-30s. And there's no shutdown guy. It's not like you hear some music and there's no way we can get a hit off this guy. That doesn't happen anymore. And you what you do is if you have the budget, you get 2 or 3 relievers and you spend some. But Andrew Miller was never the same after Cleveland. He signed a big contract with I want to say the Cardinals.
Yep.
I don't think he even pitched this year.
It's all about the postseason run and the way analytics have ruined baseball. Of you have 2 guys, you ride them through the postseason, and then the next year you're in the toilet because those guys aren't the same because they pitched an extra full year every other day. And looking at so you say you get Alex Wood, Madison Bumgarner, Garrett Cole, 3 best pitchers probably on the market. If you go and get all 3 to add to Sale and Price and Rodriguez, or say you only get
Tickets
2
are now $500 in the bleachers.
Yeah, but hypothetically, say they finish second to the Yankees with only 90 wins and get the second wild card.
Right.
Are you going to blame whoever the GM is, or are you going to then look at Cora and then you're like, well, maybe Dombrowski wasn't an issue, maybe it was Cora, and then in 2 years we're drafting Benintendi in the 9th overall pick, or Benintendi 2.0, and we're starting this whole cycle over again instead of the way baseball used to be, where you could go and continue success. So I just don't know what the Red Sox are doing because it's been this cycle before.
Well, what is it's they react. They don't like to lose.
No, but you look at Francona was there.
Right.
He won a World Series.
Yep.
Then they went downhill.
Yep.
They fired him.
Yep.
Came back up. Farrell wins the World Series in his first year.
Yep.
Goes downhill.
Right.
They fire him.
Right.
It's
Well, that's what happens when a guy isn't good. They get fired. But what I'm getting at is, so if they're like this year, they wasted a year of Bogarts. They wasted a year of Devers. They wasted a year of Mookie Betts, which they're running out of those years. You got to win. You got to win now. Okay, so you can't go. I don't want to spend an extra $8 million. I don't want to spend $10 million. It's strictly on the ownership, and they didn't spend enough money to pay. And the stupid contracts to Eovaldi and Pierce. You don't sign Eovaldi and Pierce. I was talking with Matt yesterday. This is the guy that was on Houston. He's on Tampa Bay now.
Charlie Morton.
If they got Charlie Morton, probably for a lot cheaper than Eovaldi.
You could have gotten Morton and Ottavino.
Yeah.
And you would have probably at least
Save
been
money.
in the wild card.
Yeah.
Save money and been in the wild card.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, it's like, oh, well, yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, it wasn't Eovaldi's track record outside of that one game, extra inning game, which you lost, by the way, justify giving him $17 million a year.
The game where he just showed his toughness.
And then the other stupid thing.
And then Pierce, he went. The guy, got hot in the playoffs. He's not Kevin Millar. I mean, he got hot in 3 games against. I'm sorry, the Dodgers did not put up a fight as all I'm concerned in the World Series.
That was a whole other issue.
Yeah. So and they gave him a contract too, which was dumb.
So you look at the trades. Everyone's like, "Why aren't you making a trade?" And you're like, "Well, what are you going to trade? You have 3 pieces. You got 2 good pitchers, and you got Dahlbeck. Those are your 3 trade pieces. And one of them's a hothead that's probably going to get suspended for PEDs at some point again in Dahlbeck. And you look at what are you going to trade those guys for? It's like, all right, well, I go get Greinke. Would that have helped? Maybe.
Which he wouldn't pitch in Fenway because he doesn't like the atmosphere here.
But he pitched in L.A. and Houston, New York.
Nobody goes to the games in
LA.
L.A.
Yeah.
He didn't pitch in New York.
He didn't?
Greinke? No.
Well, he wants to pitch with people, with the fans, with their
kind of. Well, he
hands
has
under their butt.
He has severe anxiety disorder,
Ah.
so he won't pitch for rabid fan bases or play cities and towns that have adverse media who have wrongfully. The contract is in his contract that have wrongfully accused players.
You mean like a city that flies smoke up a running back's butt so much that they think he's going to be the next LaDainian Tomlinson, then he's a healthy scratch week 1?
Who's that?
Damian Harris. Boston media love Damian Harris, the 3rd round running back for the Patriots. He's better than Michelle. He's going to be the first down back. A healthy scratch week 1.
It happens.
Boston media has no idea what they're doing.
It happens. It happens.
Something else I want to talk about too, real quick before we go. USA lost today.
Yep, USA
they had no
basketball.
center.
Yeah.
Miles Turner didn't play at all. Popovich was doing smoke and mirrors. They barely beat Turkey.
Yeah, they didn't have the A team. If you're going to talk about like the NBA stars that they could have sent.
No, and people will say, "Oh, it makes the Celtics look bad." I don't think so. I mean, I think that Brown, Tatum, Kemba Walker, Smart, they got to play on the big stage.
Yeah.
Competitive
gonna be a
games
good
in the
experience.
offseason.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for them. I think it's fine. Now, I'd love to see them win, but come the Olympics, they'll give the big guns. They'll come out, and I think they'll be okay.
Exactly.
And then what else we got here? 9/11 today.
Yep.
Big deal. Have you ever been to the memorial in New York?
I haven't actually been to it.
Yeah, I've been there. I got pictures on my phone. My wife and I went there. Really big deal, and I think that it's a bigger deal for people that were over the age of 18 at then. I think if you grew up in that time, it's a little different.
Well, I was just thinking today, I was in a room filled with 24
So you were
kids.
like 8?
I was in second grade.
Did you have any idea what was going on?
Oh yeah, like I knew something wasn't right,
Okay.
but at the time I wasn't able to comprehend what was happening, but I
Right.
knew it wasn't what should happen.
Right.
But yeah, I was in classes today. I was in a room filled with 24 kids at a time. That none of them were even a twinkle in their parents' eye when this had happened.
I was in 8th grade, and I remember a student who, she had like a dentist appointment or something, so she came in later.
Right.
And I think we were in like the library, the whole class was in the library, and she like started telling us what happened.
So nobody knew.
We didn't know at that point.
Oh, wow.
Well, because I remember hearing stories later
Yeah.
that in the high school that they had one TV in each wing, and it was just whoever ended up in there was when you found out.
Yeah.
And when I was in school, there was the principal made an announcement at like 2:30 at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and that was when the first
Really?
time anyone found out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was in college. I think I was a junior. And I had a class at 9:30. So you're getting ready, you're taking your shower.
Yeah.
And my roommate was like,
Yeah.
you're like, what? You're like, whatever. And then you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then nobody went to class.
By 9:30, the second
Right.
had hit, right?
Yeah. So we didn't even go to the 9 o'clock class.
Yeah.
We were glued to our TVs till noon. They had like a whole grief thing that night, but it was like any building with 3 stories or more, don't even go to.
Yeah.
My dad called me. He was he was at Beacon Hill at the time, and he called me. And he's like, "There's nobody on the street. What's going on?"
Yeah.
And I go, "Turn on the radio or whatever." And he's like, and then we found out what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Crazy story. It's kind
Yeah.
of like near me they had the Marathon Bombers, the shootout in Watertown.
Yeah.
It's those are movie things. Those aren't that shouldn't be real life.
Yeah.
And then when it is real life,
Right.
it really blows your mind.
And it was interesting that one of the TV companies has the commercial now about like the moon landing and all that, and like how everyone's gathered around TVs. And I had the thought, I was talking to my parents, like in today's world, I could be in my room, you could be driving down the road, and we all like are keeping tracks on thing. And it was a different environment when there was only this one location. Like everyone in one location had to come together.
Yeah.
And it just had a different feel than now. You don't want it to, but hypothetically, if something like that happened again, everyone would just be glued to their phones in a secluded room, and it would probably have a different feel.
Oh yeah. The only thing that was close for me, like I talked about the marathon bombing, my wife was down there at the finish line when everything went off working for
Yeah.
Verizon. There were so many phone calls or whatever it was,
Yeah.
nobody's cell phone worked.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even check on
Yeah,
people.
I was
see if they
there
were
that
okay.
day.
Were you in college?
In like no, I was out of college, but I was there watching. My friend Greg Mercury was running.
Yeah.
And we were about a mile. We were more in like the Fenway area
Sure,
when
sure,
it
sure.
happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, the phones started
Yeah.
to go down.
Yeah, and
it was
everybody's
scary.
and so what happened with my wife was the plainclothes FBI came in the store. She's like, "Whoa, who are you guys?"
Yeah.
They're like, they go, "Just leave your stuff here. We're gonna lock the store. Go out the back, walk, and don't stop till you hit the Charles River.
Yeah.
Not, hi, this is who we are. Just go."
Yeah.
And she said the most impressive thing was about that whole thing, nobody stole anything in the store. Because they had police, but nobody.
Yeah.
There wasn't like riots. There
Yeah,
wasn't,
yeah,
which was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing thing there. And but I went to the 9/11 museum. And you see how they redid everything with Ground Zero, and there's still a lot of stuff that they kind of left.
Yeah, when I was
it's
down
really
there,
impressive.
I was down there in I think 8th or 9th grade, so they had just started the building process of
Oh,
the
yeah.
current memorial. So it was
It took a long time to put that stuff together.
So we're thinking about all the lives that were lost that day, all the first responders that rushed in.
Yep.
And instead of spinning the music, we'll end with a moment of silence, and we'll talk to you guys next week.